SKOL Vikings, let's win this game.
Minnesota's not messing around. Just days away from the November 4th trade deadline, the Vikings stunned everyone by putting two major names, very beloved by the fans, on the trade block. Nobody saw this coming. The backroom chatter is on fire, and the vibe inside the team has changed completely. The GM is dialing nonstop while other teams are making big moves. The burning question now is this the start of a turnaround or a signal that something even bigger is coming? But before we dive into each of these updates, let me drop a quick one for you. Hit that subscribe button. It's free, costs nothing, and it powers this purple community we build every single day. Smash the like too, because it helps YouTube push this video to more fans around the globe. And now, let's jump into the news, because the first one hits right at the heart of the fan base. After 6 weeks off, it's time to see J.J. McCarthy back in action. The rookie finally gets the chance to show what he can really do. And to be honest with you, there's a lot of buzz in the Vikings locker room this Sunday in Detroit. The team believes this could be the real beginning of his NFL journey. McCarthy lost a big chunk of the start of his career to injuries. First the knee, now the ankle. That's why this comeback is so symbolic. He said he feels myself again, more mobile, lighter, body reacting well. What remains is game rhythm and, of course, confidence. Kevin O'Connell keeps saying the same thing. It doesn't need to be perfect, but it needs to be clear. Read the game, throw quickly, trust your arm. And JJ himself has shown growth, studying film with O'Connell and Josh McCown to clean up details you only fix with field time. The coaching staff knows he's still raw, that he will make mistakes, that the schedule is tough, but they also know the talent is there. Against the Bears, he showed grit and flipped the game. Against the Falcons, he played hurt, became a father, took hits, but stayed in. That carries weight in a locker room. The key now is seeing whether McCarthy can translate all that into command. O'Connell wants a quarterback who plays within the system, protects his body, and reads defenses calmly. If he does the simple things right, the talent will show. And his teammates already feel the difference. The vibe around him is one of confidence, not doubt. Deep down, the fans know it's early to expect miracles, but it's impossible not to believe something special is starting here. And if he stays healthy, maybe we're witnessing the birth of the franchise's future. Drop a comment if you also think this could be the turning point for J.J. McCarthy, because the next story goes straight into a veteran's pocket. The trade talk in Minnesota has heated up, and one big name popped into the mix: Aaron Jones. The running back who returned this season on a $20 million deal is now being seriously viewed as a trade candidate. It's tough to say because he became a fan favorite, but the team situation and the salary cap are heavy. According to Bill Barnwell of ESPN, the Vikings have only 5 picks in the 2025 draft, and with a 3-4 record, the front office may try to recover value. Jones still has 1 year left on his contract with guaranteed money, and for some franchises, like the Chargers or Chiefs, paying around $3 million to get him now might make sense. To be candid with you, this talk is more behind the scenes than on the field. The issue is Jones's body isn't holding up. He's missed much of the season with a hamstring injury and has totaled only 61 rushing yards and 1 touchdown in 3 games. Meanwhile, Jordan Mason took over the role. And here's the thing. Mason came from the 49ers before the season, earned the coach's trust, and became the RB1. He has a solid average, scores touchdowns, blocks well, and brings the energy the team needed. So the truth is, with Mason ascending and Jones both expensive and injured, the numbers don't add up. Of course, there's the emotional side. The locker room respects Jones. He's a leader and charismatic, and the veteran guys admire what he represents. But the NFL can be cold to declining veterans. And frankly, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah has shown he doesn't hesitate when he sees future value. Some insiders even say this move could be just the beginning of a silent mini rebuild focused on accumulating picks and freeing cap space. Jones still might help another contender, maybe a team needing instant explosiveness, but here, it seems his cycle is ending. Fans are split. Some say it's unfair. Others believe it's the right move for the future. And yes, the female fans are demanding consistency too, you know. You can't talk about a new cycle if you're holding on to a high-contract injured player. Comment below. What would you do if you were in the front office? Keep Jones for the leadership or trade now and think ahead. Because the next story shows how the entire league is on fire ahead of the trade deadline. Every passing day, the trade market climate in the NFL grows more intense, and the Vikings are right in the middle of it all. Albert Breer dropped a massive behind-the-scenes report, and if you like hot rumors, there's big stuff brewing in the league's back rooms. And of course, Minnesota is among the most active teams in the chatter. Breer outlined that the number of trades has been rising over the years, but the major names are still rare. McCaffrey, Hawkinson, Roquan Smith, Chubb, and that's why each new rumor hits the fan base. And get this, There are teams ready to move. Among the sellers, the Dolphins and Jets are taking calls on pass rushers, and the price is going up. Miami is listening on Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb, while the Jets are checking the market for Jermaine Johnson II. And for those thinking offense, even Breece Hall might be available, though only for a day 2 pick. On the other side, the Titans, Saints, and even the Raiders are open for business. Tennessee basically offered the whole roster except quarterback Cam Ward. And in New Orleans, teams are probing about Chris Olave and Rashid Shaheed, even if the price tag is steep. Classic pre-deadline scenario. Lots of calls, little confirmation. But what matters for us is the latter part of the report. The Vikings and Colts are among the teams seeking cornerbacks ahead of the cutoff. And that explains a lot of the silent moves by Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. He's exploring options, assessing cost-benefit, and setting the stage without giving away the team's future. To be honest, this is the kind of maneuver that separates an ordinary GM from one thinking big. Kwesi is in the middle of the storm. He needs to bolster the defense, protect McCarthy, and keep the roster competitive. And at the same time, he knows any misstep now could hurt for years. National media is watching. Big teams circling. GMs testing patience, and many believe this could be one of the busiest deadlines of the decade. And seriously, if the Vikings show up with a new name on the roster by Tuesday, nobody should be surprised. Stick around, because the next story dives right into that. What Pelissero said about Kwesi's work and how Kirk Cousins' name re-entered the talk. Tom Pelissero brought behind-the-scenes details that confirm what many had suspected. Kwesi Adofo-Mensah is calling everybody. The Vikings GM is active in the market, testing possibilities, asking values, and probing reinforcements, both for now and the future. And to be straight with you, he's playing the game like few others. Pelissero said this is Kwesi's standard. The guy is known as one of the top 5 communicative GMs in the NFL. Even without an immediate move, he keeps the conversations alive. And that matters a lot, because depending on injuries over the weekend, the scenario could flip in an instant. The current focus is clear: edge rusher, corner, and attack depth. Nothing wild, but adjustments that could sustain the team into the season's end. The interesting detail is that Pelissero mentioned Kirk Cousins. Yes, that Kirk Cousins. According to him, there's no signal the team will bring him back now, but made it clear that Cousins would be open to a return, even as a backup. And honestly, that shows the respect between parties remains high. The Vikings don't want to disrupt McCarthy's development, but they also understand the value of having a veteran around. It's a delicate balance. That's why the team brought John Wolford onto the practice squad, a guy with experience, to help the rookie behind the scenes, just like Carson Wentz did before. Pelissero also stressed there's no big splash imminent, no giant trade or massive contract. The idea is to keep the group cohesive, continue developing the youngsters, and monitor the market with calm. And honestly, that makes sense. With a 3-4 record and a heavy schedule, rushing could be the enemy of the rebuild Kwesi is drawing up. The most interesting part? This behavior keeps the Vikings relevant in every backroom conversation. When other GMs hear Minnesota called, it creates respect. It shows the team is active, alert, and ready to act if the right moment appears. But the most fun part of the day didn't come from a trade. It came from an old provocation resurfacing and had everyone stunned. And yes, it involves Justin Jefferson and one particular Bears player. This was unbelievable. Bears safety Jaquan Brisker said he made Justin Jefferson cry on the field. That's right. He told reporters that during the 2022 game, he trashed Jefferson so much that Jefferson supposedly cried and then dropped a bunch of passes in the second half. Seriously, at times these guys seem to live in another dimension, because if you look at the numbers from that game, the story falls apart entirely. Jefferson had 12 catches on 13 targets, 154 yards, and even completed a pass to Dalvin Cook. The Vikings beat the Bears 29-22, so yeah, either Brisker watched a different game or his memory's got serious problems. To be honest with you, this sounds way more like cheap trash talk than actual fact. Jefferson basically shredded their defense that day, and the box score backs that up. In the second half, his production dropped slightly because the coverage doubled, not because he was crying. The point is, the data doesn't lie, but the ego, oh man, that lies beautifully. And funny enough, it's not the first time Brisker has tried to call out Jefferson. Last year, he posted on X that Jefferson's low numbers were due to the Jalen Johnson effect. He just forgot to mention that Addison and Hawkinson combined for 276 yards that day. The Bears' defense got demolished anyway. These comments are the kind of fuel Jefferson loves. He hears them, stores them, and answers on the field. And with the rivalry heating up, mark this. The November 16th game in Minneapolis is going to get personal, because when he has a reason to respond, the man becomes a hurricane. In the end, what Brisker did was hand one of the NFL's most dangerous players free motivation. And honestly, that's asking to suffer. Jefferson hasn't publicly responded yet, but when he does, it'll be cold, direct, and without show. And we all know he doesn't need words to respond. Just run the route clean. Comment below if you also think this kind of provocation shows a rival's desperation, or if it's just part of the game. Because today's conclusion is going to tie all this together and make clear what this moment means for those living to defend the North. Look, what we saw today shows exactly where this team stands. A rookie trying to prove he can be the future, a veteran who may be moved, a GM balancing present and future, and a rivalry being reignited by pure trash talk. It's the chaos that only the Minnesota Vikings know how to deliver, and somehow we always end up loving it. McCarthy's return brings hope, but also doubt. The possible exit of Aaron Jones shows the roster is in transition, and the entire trade market seems to revolve around the decisions Kwesi will make in the next few days. But in the middle of all this, one thing remains unchanged. The heart of this fan base doesn't quit, because in the end, it doesn't matter the drama, the rumor, or the snarky comment from an opponent. What keeps it all standing is the passion of this community. And that's why I say, comment below. This space is for everyone who is part of the Vikings nation. When we think we've seen it all, something new shows up. And you better believe the conversation keeps going in the next video. Stay tuned. SKOL Vikings, let's go!